I filmed this car the other day, and I praised it very much. I like it still. I was just looking at it again, and there's just a lot of little subtle things done to it that I really appreciate about it. It looks really good, and whoever built it did a good job. I wish I could take a look at what engine is in it, because I want to see if it's still a dual overhead or if they've done any upgrades as far as engine work. Because it looks clean and it looks like it's been worked a little bit as far as driving. It looks like he uses it for what it's meant to be. For those who don't know, this chassis, the DC1 chassis, or DC2 chassis, Honda Integra chassis, is one of the most rigid and like race-oriented chassis that Honda's made in a long time. Like the DC2, the NSX, and the S2000 are like the three most race-oriented chassis. The Acura or Honda Type R. Honda Type R in Japan, Acura Integra Type R. Honda Integra Type R and Acura Integra Type R in the States. That was the first Type R to ever come over to the United States. And there was the EK9 Type R and like the CRX Type R or something like that. There was a couple before that didn't come, and SIs that didn't come to the States, but the DC2 ITR was the first ITR to come to the States, which featured stitch welding chassis, a B18C high comp 1.8 liter naturally aspirated engine. It was a longitudinal front wheel drive setup, sporting about 220 horsepower, 170, 180 foot-pounds of torque stock, but you could get well over that with a few good mods, some injectors, a new intake, a better exhaust, better cold air intake, maybe a porting of the head, and just like some simple little things that you could do in your own garage. And you could get these quite a bit higher, 250, three-wheel horsepower on fucking stock internals with no boost. That's impressive. And you could go even further if you decided to do some like independent throttles or independent carbies on this engine, which is what people have done. But at that point, the horsepower per dollar you're getting is just not very much. It's much cheaper to build an forced induction Honda Civic rather than an all-motor built Honda Civic. But in my opinion, all-motor Honda Civic builds are much more respectable because they're not just like fucking high RPM like babies, black monsters. If you do an all-motor mechanical tuning setup on a Honda engine, you will have such a good torque curve and will not have to worry about lag at all like you would with a big turbo on a Civic engine, which is very nice if you want to get up to speed faster. But that's my spiel. And if this Type R is still around here, I'm going to talk about the Type R a little bit more that I filmed in yesterday's video. So when you buy a car, there are different trim levels to that car that you can get. Generally, it's like LX, DX, EX, and then the highest spec trim level, which is generally an Evolution model in the sense of a Lancer Evo, or it could just be like the M model in BMWs. It's the performance model of the car. Honda has the Type R model, or Type S in some cases, for Acuras. Like there's the Acura RSX, which is a DC5 Integra in Japan. There's the Acura Type S in America, which is the Type R model essentially. It comes with the high performance engine, suspension reworking, and I'm pretty sure a more rigid chassis. But that's the model that they build into race cars and race in like Group A and stuff. And in order to do that, you have to have what's called homologation, which is a certain amount of production models of this car sold before you can get into some races. like WRC and Group A, Group B, circuit racing and stuff. And so in order to be able to meet those, they sell these trim levels. And not much, I'm just filming a video. What? One sec. Alright, I'm gonna try. I fucking paused the recording last time and fucked myself. So I'm gonna try to explain and be worried about pausing the recording every 5 seconds. Why, like, the Type R Civics and stuff. So I was talking about homologation before my friends cut me off rudely. And like Subaru STIs, like the WRX STI is a homologation spec car so that it can be raced in World Rallycross. They need to sell 500 units in every Evolution model, which is like the next, so they sell the regular WRX, and the year after they can sell an Evolution quote unquote model, which is a model that has the same chassis and whatnot, but they just fixed little minor details that didn't work out in the first one. They're allowed to release those, and they need to sell 500 of those too. So in order to do this, they sell cars like the Type R Civic and all that so that they can use these cars in race series. And like the difference between a Type R Civic and a regular Civic is like the most recent Civics, the Type R has a better turbo, better fueling system. It has like all the cool shit that like a GTR would have, like an onboard computer that you can monitor your boost level and your oil pressure, oil temp, water temp, and all that cool shit. Whereas a regular Civic doesn't have all that. And even some of the regular Civics aren't even turboed in the newest model. I think like the base model isn't even turboed, but the SI is turbo, or I can't remember. I don't know. There are too many different trim models of the new Civics for me to understand. But the Type R is like the peak of the peak of Civics. It went around the Nürburgring in like 7 minutes. I'll look that up real quick. But yeah, so the Civic Type R went around the Nürburgring, which is like a famous track in Germany that research and development for car companies is done at. That's where like the Nissan GTR did a lot of development, and a lot of different cars, a lot of Fords and stuff like that.